Ever wonder why your warnings, the boundaries you set, just fall flat, like they fall on deaf ears? Well, we're going to dig into that exact question. And we're going to do it with a really old story, one that teaches us a ton about how to make our words actually land.
Seriously, have you ever felt like you're just shouting into the wind? You know the feeling. You set a clear boundary, you give a warning, and crickets. Nothing changes. If that sounds familiar, trust me, you are not alone. This is a problem people have been wrestling with for like thousands of years.
And believe it or not, the answer to this super modern frustration, it's hiding in a really old fable. It's a simple story, but wow, it gets right to the heart of what respect, consequences, and, real resolve are all about.
All right, so let's jump back in time. We're about to meet a very, very frustrated farmer and some surprisingly bold cranes. And I'm telling you, this little story, it's the key to this whole thing. Now, this isn't some new age idea I just cooked up. This story comes from the tradition of Aesop's fables, way back in the 6th century BCE. I mean, think about that. These stories were specifically designed to teach us these fundamental truths about power, about authority, and really just about human nature. And this one, oh, it's a total masterclass.
Okay, so here's how the story goes. It's super simple. You've got a farmer who sows his field with seed. All good, right? Well, then a flock of cranes shows up, and they start eating everything. So the farmer, what does he do? At first, he just runs out, shouting, swinging an empty sling around his head, making a big show. But it's just noise. There's no real threat. And the cranes, they're smart. They figure this out fast and just completely ignore him. It's only when he finally gets fed up, loads that sling with actual stones, creating a real consequence, that the cranes finally get the message and leave for good.
And that right there, that pivot from an empty sling to a loaded one, that's what this is all about. This is what we can call the empty sling effect.
So what this fable illustrates so perfectly is this idea called deterrence decay. It's basically what happens when a warning or a threat just completely loses its power over time. Why? Because it's never, ever backed up by a real, believable consequence. You see, the farmer's initial mercy, it wasn't seen as kindness by those cranes. Not at all. It was just misinterpreted as weakness.
And this really is the core difference, right? On one side, you have the empty sling. That's your hollow threat. It's just words without any weight behind them, which pretty much just invites disrespect. But then you've got the loaded sling. That represents a credible consequence. It gives your words real power, and it creates a boundary that is crystal clear and, most importantly, respected. Because everyone knows it's backed by action.
So this really forces us to look in the mirror and ask some tough questions, doesn't it? I mean, think about your own life for a second. Could your leniency actually be encouraging people to disrespect your boundaries? And why do we so often wait until the damage is already done? Until our field is totally empty before we finally decide to act. And here's a big one. Is making a hollow threat actually worse than just saying nothing at all?
Okay, so obviously this isn't really about farmers and birds. This whole dynamic, this empty sling effect, it plays out all around us, every single day, in our own fields, with our own cranes.
Let's break this down. In your personal life, that crane might be a family member who just repeatedly crosses a line you've set. And the pitfall, after a while, your words just lose all meaning. Or think about parenting. The crane is the child who completely ignores the 10th threat of a timeout. Why? Because they've learned your words have no weight. There's no follow-through. And in the professional world, oh man, it's the manager who gives an underperforming employee endless final warnings. The result isn't just that the employee doesn't improve, is that the manager's authority completely erodes, and the rest of the team loses respect.
So here's the bottom line, the most crucial takeaway. Think of your words as your own personal currency. Every single time you make an empty threat, or you set a boundary you don't enforce, you're devaluing your own voice. It's like you're spending your credibility, and you're getting absolutely nothing in return.
Okay, so how do we fix this, right? How do we get that value back? It's all about learning to load your own sling. And listen, this isn't about aggression. It's about resolve. Here is the first big mindset shift. It's a game changer. You need to stop threatening. Instead, you just calmly state the consequences of an action, and then you have to be 100% prepared to follow through. See the difference? It's a huge shift from an emotional reaction to just calm, decisive action. And I love this because it gets to the heart of the balance we're aiming for. So many of us are afraid that enforcing a boundary is somehow mean or unkind. It's just not true. You can be a deeply kind, compassionate person and also be firm. You can refuse to let yourself be taken advantage of. Let's be really clear. Kindness and weakness are absolutely not the same thing. And really, this is the ultimate goal, isn't it? True strength
Real authority, it doesn't come from constantly having to prove it, from constantly using force. It comes from having such a credible sense of resolve that you rarely have to. The goal isn't to be out there throwing stones all the time. The goal is to be the farmer whose quiet presence is enough because everyone, all the cranes in your life, they just know the sling is loaded.
So I'm going to leave you with this one last thought. Think about it. The world has little respect for a storm that brings no rain. A storm that's just a bunch of noise, all thunder and lightning but no actual rain, well, eventually everyone just ignores it. Your resolve, that's the rain. When your words have real weight, when your boundaries are solid, you earn respect not by making noise, but through the quiet confidence of your actions. So the question is, what kind of storm are you going to